Next topic we are taking bond length. The distance between nuclei of two bonded atoms is called bond length. It will depend upon radius of the bonded atoms. Bond length increases with the increase in atomic radii of the bonded atoms. Now CH bond length is greater than NH because carbon is bigger than nitrogen. Hydrogen is common in all of them. Since carbon is bigger than nitrogen and nitrogen is bigger than oxygen and oxygen is bigger than fluorine, that is why the CH bond length is biggest, FH bond length is smallest. Same is case with water. In water there is HOH bond, oxygen is smaller than sulfur, so its bond length is less than SH bond. Selenium is bigger than sulfur, so here bond length is longest. Next, we are taking difference between electronegativity of two bonded atoms. Bond length can be determined by the relation given by Shoemaker and Stevenson. DAB, that is if you want to find out bond length of AB bond, this will be equal to radius of A plus radius of B minus 0.09 into delta. What is delta? Delta is the difference in electronegativity of A and B. RA is radius of atom A, RB is radius of atom B. Bond order. Now bond order is same as number of bonds. Single bond we say bond order is 1. Double bond we say bond order is 2. And triple bond we say bond order is 3. Carbon-carbon single bond length will naturally be longest. Why it will be longest? Because force of attraction is less in single bond. It is 1.54 Armstrong. Carbon-carbon double bond has shorter bond length because of more force of attraction. Carbon-carbon triple bond is strongest, so its bond length is smallest, 1.2 Armstrong. Carbon-carbon triple bond is greater than carbon-carbon carbon-nitrogen bond and nitrogen-nitrogen bond, because when the size is bigger, the bond length will be more. If size is smaller, bond length will be less. Hybridization. Hybridization is topic which we will take up in detail, but at this moment, let's take up how bond length is affected by hybridization. When S character in the hybridized orbital, what do you mean by S character in hybridized orbital? If we have sp3 hybridization, it has got 25% S character and 75% P character. In sp2, we have got 33% S character and 66% P character. And in sp hybridization, we have 50% S character and 50% P character. So this is the meaning of S character in hybridized orbitals. So when the S character in hybridized orbital increases, bond length decreases, because S orbital is attracted towards the nucleus with a greater force of attraction. Reason being that it is closer to the nucleus as compared to P orbital. So bond length is inversely proportional to the S character in hybrid orbital or hybridized orbital. Bond angle. Bond angle between two adjacent bonds in a molecule is called bond angle. That is, bond can be represented by lines, and these lines, between these lines there is an angle, and this angle is called bond angle. Types of hybridization, I have just explained. There are three types of hybridization, although there are many more types. First we are discussing only these three types of hybridization for the time being: sp3, sp2 and sp. So bond angle depends upon hybridization of the atom. If it is sp3 hybridization, bond angle is 109.5 degree or 109 degree 28 minutes. If there is sp2 hybridized, bond angle is 120. And if there is sp hybridized, it's a linear shape, bond angle is 180. In sp2 hybridization, the trigonal shape or planar shape, bond angle 120. And in sp3, there is a tetrahedral shape with bond angle 109 degree 28 minutes. So bond angle is directly proportional to S character in hybridized orbital. This we have proved with the help of above example. Bond angle is inversely proportional to P character. That also can be easily understood with the help of example. Now, how lone pair of electrons affect the bond angle? Bond angle decreases with the increase in number of lone pairs on the central atom. So bond angle is inversely proportional to number of lone pairs, because lone pair of electrons repel each other as well as they repel bonded pair of electrons, and that is the reason that bond angle decreases. Electronegativity of central atom also affects the bond angle. Bond angle will be high if electronegativity value of the central atom is high. That is, bond angle is directly proportional to electronegativity of central atom. What is meant by central atom? The atom which forms two or more bond is called central atom. For example, in water molecule, bond angle is 104.5 because oxygen is most electronegative out of these three examples. In H2S, sulfur is less electronegative than oxygen, so bond angle is 92. In a hydrogen selenide, the bond angle is 90 because selenium is even less electronegative than sulfur. So it means if electronegativity decreases, bond angle also decreases. And even here, atomic size also keeps on increasing. So if atomic size increases, then also bond angle decreases. Next, we are taking bond energy. Whenever bond is formed, energy is released. Why energy is released? That the molecule is more stable as compared to atom. That is why energy is released. And this energy is called bond energy. When you break the bond, energy is required to break the bond. And this energy is called bond dissociation energy. So the amount of energy released when bond is formed is called bond energy. What are the factors which affect bond energy? First is atomic radius. Now, if atoms are smaller, it means bond length will be smaller and bond energy will be more. If atoms are larger, then bond length will be larger and bond energy will be less. For example, CH bond length, bond energy is less than NH, is less than OH, is less than FH. Reason is fluorine is smallest in size and carbon is largest in size. It means bond energy is inversely proportional to atomic radius. Bond length. Bond energy increases with decrease in bond length because of more effective orbital overlap. Means if there is smaller bond length, high energy will be required. You may be knowing hydrogen is less reactive at room temperature. Why it is less reactive at room temperature? Because it has high bond dissociation energy. Why it has high bond dissociation energy? Due to smaller bond length. Why it has smaller bond length? Because hydrogen is smallest in size. The bond energy is inversely proportional to bond length. Smaller the bond length, higher will be bond energy. Polarity of bond also plays an important role in deciding bond energy. HF has got higher bond energy than HCl, bond dissociation energy or bond energy, both we can call it, because both are equal in magnitude and opposite in sign. So HF has greater than HCl, HCl has greater than HBr, and HBr has greater than I. It means it is difficult to break the bond between HF and easiest to break the bond between HI. So bond energy increases with the polarity of bond. Greater the polarity, more will be the bond energy. Greater the difference in electronegativity, more will be the bond energy. Hybridization. Bond energy increases with the increase in S character or decrease in P character in hybridized orbitals. sp3 hybridized has got less bond energy than sp2 and sp2 has got less bond energy than sp. In sp3 there is 25% S character, in sp2 there is 33% S character, and sp there is 50% S character. So it means bond energy is directly proportional to S character in the hybridized orbitals. Bond energy is inversely proportional to P character in the hybridized orbital. If S character is less, P character will be more. And if S character is more, P character will be less. Bond order. Bond energy increases with the bond order. Means there is a triple bond, it will require very high bond and dissociation energy. Then double bond. Double bond will require high bond dissociation energy than single bond. So this example clearly shows that N triple bond has got more bond energy than oxygen double bond than hydrogen single bond. Similarly, carbon triple bond has more bond dissociation energy than carbon-carbon double bond than carbon-carbon single bond. Now, what is meant by overlapping? Overlapping does not take place in ionic bond because ionic bond there is a complete transfer of electron from one atom to another. But in covalent bond, not only sharing takes place, but overlapping of atomic orbitals also takes place. Now it is not each and every atomic orbital can overlap. Only those atomic orbitals can overlap which has got single electron, that is unpaired electrons. So only half-filled atomic orbitals or the orbitals having unpaired electrons can take part in covalent bond formation. When overlapping is coaxial, coaxial means along internuclear axis, sigma bond is formed. That is, when there is end-on overlapping or head-on overlapping, the bond formed is called sigma bond. And here extent of overlapping is more, therefore sigma bond is strong. But if overlapping is lateral or sideways, it is called pi bond. So if sideways or lateral overlapping takes place, in which effective overlapping is less, a pi bond is formed. Sigma bond formed in the case of hybridized orbitals are stronger and stable than that of pi bond because extent of overlapping is more. Now s orbital can always form sigma bond, it cannot form pi bond because pi bond is formed by sideways or lateral overlapping of only parallel p orbitals. So parallel p orbitals are required for the formation of pi bond. That is why s orbital cannot form pi bond, they always form sigma bond. Types of overlapping is the next topic. First, we are taking s overlapping. When one s orbital overlaps with another s orbital, but both should be half filled. That is, both should have unpaired electrons. This type of overlapping is called SS overlapping. This we have shown with the help of diagram. There are two hydrogen atoms which have got s orbitals, and these two s orbitals have got one electron each, and they are sharing one electron each and undergoing overlapping, so they form a molecular orbital. This molecular orbital is also called sigma molecular orbital, and here overlapping is taking place along internuclear axis, so sigma bond is being formed by SS overlapping in this diagram. Next, we are taking sp overlapping. When s orbital of one atom like hydrogen and p orbital of another atom like fluorine or chlorine, but both should have one electron each, that is one unpaired electron, they can participate in overlapping, a sigma molecular orbital will be formed. S orbital of hydrogen is overlapping with p orbital of fluorine having unpaired electron, and it forms sp overlapping. There is nodal plane. Nodal plane means plane along with probability of finding electron is 0. This is called nodal plane. And this bond is also formed along internuclear axis. That is why this bond is called sigma bond. PP overlapping. When two p orbitals can overlap, there are two ways. One way is they can overlap along internuclear axis. And when they overlap along internuclear axis, they will form sigma bond. Another way is that overlapping is sideways or lateral. And this is only possible in parallel p orbitals. So parallel p orbitals, when overlap, they will form pi bonds. When overlapping of p orbital is coaxial, that is along internuclear axis, a sigma bond is formed. If it is lateral or sideways, pi bond is formed. We have shown with the help of diagram. Fluorine has got 1s2, 2s2, 2p5. One of the p orbital of fluorine has one unpaired electron. Let's take it is 2px orbital. So one 2px orbital having unpaired electron is overlapping with another 2px orbital having unpaired electron, and they are overlapping along the internuclear axis, and result in the formation of sigma bond. Here the dotted line are showing nodal plane where there is no probability of finding electrons. This is formation of pi bond as well as sigma bond. In the center we have shown sigma bond formation which is formed at internuclear axis, and two parallel p orbitals are forming pi bond by overlapping, and pi bond electron density will be more at above and below the plane of internuclear axis, whereas in sigma bond electron density will be maximum along the internuclear axis. This is the difference between sigma bond and pi bond.